It was one of the most stressful times in my life, and it became one of my most embarrassing moments. One afternoon, after a heated family argument, I lost control. I stormed into my backyard. I picked up the first thing I saw, an aluminum baseball bat. I reached back and with all my strength I started whacking at everything in my path. A few minutes later, when I started to come back to my senses, I realized I had just destroyed part of a fence, some shrubs, and the rose bushes. My neighbor's rose bushes. In that moment, I understood the term blind rage. That's when I saw him. My 3-year-old son Brendan. He had walked outside during my attack. Wearing his little white t-shirt, red shorts and white gym shoes, he tentatively walked over toward me. With a trembling lower lip, he said, "Daddy, can I jump in the mud puddle?" Still distracted by my emotional outburst, I replied, "What? You want to do, what? Jump in a puddle?" Sadly, he slowly nodded his head up and down. "Look, I don't know, Brendan. You've got on your good shoes." I looked into his eyes, which had always trusted me, but were now filled with fear. I thought, "I'm the reason you're scared. What the hell is wrong with me?" I said, "Sure, buddy. Go ahead." He walked over to a large puddle that had formed under his swing set after the previous night's downpour. Very gingerly at first, he stepped in. After a couple of minutes, he started jumping up and down. Then with much more gusto, he started making huge splashes. Eventually he was covered with mud. And that's when it hit me. He's not just jumping in a puddle, he's relieving his stress. In the middle of all that chaos, he knew he had to do something to feel better. He didn't think, "I really need to relieve me tension." Instead he thought, puddle. Jump in the puddle. It took my 3-year-old son jumping in that mud puddle to make me realize I needed to find my own stress relievers. This story is the centerpiece of my speech entitled, "Find Your Mud Puddles." If you're wondering why I'm telling you a story about me acting like a fool and my son getting muddy, the answer is this. By sharing my own embarrassment and pain, and it is not easy to share this story publicly, and telling you about someone who helped me see life a little differently, hopefully I've made a connection with you. Unfortunately, this is a process many speakers don't use because they mistakenly believe they should build themselves up. Put another way, when you build yourself up, you also build a wall between you and your audience. Why do so many speakers and presenters brag about themselves? 2 reasons. 1. They feel it's necessary to build up their credibility. 2. They may feel insecure or intimidated about presenting to an audience, so they feel they need to look good. Worse, they might think, "Who does she think she is? She's just up here bragging about herself. I'm not impressed by all this. I want to know what she can do for me." Either way, the outcome is not good. Please don't misunderstand. The message here isn't don't tell your audience about your successes. At some point, they'll want to hear something good so that you can give them hope. Before you can do this, though, earn their trust. Let them know that you're just like them. How do you do this? Share your struggles, strife and setbacks. Everyone has experienced each of those situations. People relate to them, and hearing your story may help them feel just a little bit superior. That's okay, you're building your audience up. For instance, in my mud puddle story, I demonstrate how ridiculous and irresponsible I was when I lost my temper. Audience members might think, "Well, I've lost it before, but not like that." Or, "Glad I'm not him or his neighbor." This is the reaction you want. Now they feel like you, and they're open to hearing your message. If you want to create that instant connection and bond, then share your stories of struggle, strife, and setback. Do this, and people will not only feel like you, they will like you, and want to hear more.